Hello, beautiful people. That's right. Let's go Mets. Big win last night. Very excited about that. I am even more excited about today's show. We got a third straight day in a row of some pretty sweet content that I'm bringing to you. We had Courtney Hampson on Monday from Bluffton Self-Help. We had yesterday Marcus Walsh of WHHI and Loco Sports, talking sports, food, football, all that good stuff, and of course family. And I want to introduce to you a couple of people that are very special to me, that I consider to be family, that were I was immediate day one fans of, and I can't wait to have this conversation with them to talk about all the exciting stuff that they're doing. So without any further ado, I know I say that each and every time, but I don't have a better segue. Without any further ado, I have Allie and Richard. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Well,
good to see you.
Good.
So we have Allie Rogers and Richard Canestrari, formerly of Poor Richards, which, just to give everybody a little background, Poor Richards, I don't throw around the word institution loosely, but when I got here in Bluffton about 4.5, almost 5 years ago, it was April of 2021. And of course, the foodie in me immediately was like, okay, well, I need to find my new restaurant. I need to find my new spot. And being out here in what I like to call the 170 corridor, I started doing a little bit of research, and I have to also thank a friend of mine, Jan Lucas, who was my home inspector with, of course, yes, Jan was, of course, now I'm blanking on the homegrown home inspections, and he said, you got to go to Poor Richards. And I said, what's Poor Richards? The only thing I knew of Poor Richards was that was the bar, the Irish pub in The Office, where they would always go, where there was a couple of really interesting scenes. So I said, what's Poor Richards? And I don't know if you guys know this, but my introduction to it was we were not even here for like a week. Like, we literally, the movers had just come that day, and my wife Jocelyn had a friend from her office, from her the mortgage company that we both worked at. She had them visiting, them and a friend were coming up from, I guess, Florida. They were visiting family or something like that. And so they come up, and they had a hotel. They weren't spending the night with us, but they wanted to stop by and have dinner. And I said, all right, well, let's give Poor Richards a shot. So again, I don't remember what day it was in April, but if there was a weeknight way back when in April of 2021, where your phone rang about 17 times, I was unaware of what the rules were at the time, which was, if you want to call and do takeout, which I definitely did a couple of times, if you're going to call and do takeout, you better get that call in before 6 o'clock, because after 6 o'clock, we're busy as you know what. We're serving, we're cooking, we're doing all this kind of stuff. So it didn't work out for me that night, but very shortly thereafter, Jocelyn and I went and enjoyed some dinner. I became fast friends with you guys and your staff over there. Immediately became my favorite place. And then, of course, barely more than a year later, there was no better place to celebrate my entire immediate family joining me here, with my parents moving into Hilton Head, and my brother and sister and my cousin, who just bought their first homes this year out in Hardyville. They moved in over here in Bluffton, and we all went out to dinner to celebrate that the family was, back together again here in Bluffton, and there was no better place to celebrate it than Poor Richards. Everyone that you mention this restaurant to has nothing but the fondest memories. Every time that you guys post, because you still have, Poor Richards is still the page that you have on Facebook and Instagram. Every time you guys share what you're doing now, which we're going to get into right away, you invariably, you get messages constantly. We miss you guys, and so on and so forth. I've been fortunate enough to run into you guys a couple of times, since then, whether it's at the farmer's market, whether it was at the soft opening of Radici, which took over the space, the family from Shea George took over the space there on Bluffton Parkway. But most importantly, I remember having this conversation with both of you. I think it was that night where you kind of told me like the direction that you were heading in, and you and Richard specifically said, I don't remember what it was, the interview or the article that I saw, where you said that you're not retiring. You said we're still very much wanting to keep cooking and stay in the business, so to speak. And so what you decided to do from there was to pivot basically and start a private chef business, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So this business is known as Two Chefs No Magic, correct?
Yeah, the umbrella is Poor Richard's Good to Go.
Okay. Got it.
All the basic necessities of business. And then that is kind of what Justin, I'll be honest, Justin and Richard came up with that Two Chefs No Magic. I absolutely love it because it's the truth. No smoke and mirrors. It's
right.
Just a couple of us cooking really good food for you. So yeah, that's kind of what we like to call the in-home chef service, is Two Chefs No Magic. And it has been really nice and busy. We thought we might take 2 or 3 or 4 months off and just kind of hang out and get the yard in shape and get the boat floating and things like that. And about a month into selling the restaurant, it was coming up on spring and golf and all the member guests and the tournaments and things that go down. And people realized they couldn't bring their friends to see us. So they called us and said, will you come to us and our friends at our homes? And then it just took off from there.
Immediately, immediate busy, because like you guys know so many people. Like just from a historical perspective, before I get into this, just for those of you who are not familiar, when she mentions Justin, she's talking about Justin Ray King, who was basically Richard's right hand. I guess sous chef would be or right. Yeah. That would be the title officially. And again, another one of my favorites. I mean, I don't know if there was anyone that was there during the first couple of years that I was here that I wasn't a huge fan of and became immediate friends with. Justin's going to be joining me on the podcast soon. He's got a couple different things going on work-wise in addition to what you guys are doing, so he's difficult to nail down, but we're going to be coming at you with something pretty cool soon. But basically this basically went from 0 to 60 like immediately, in terms of, and that's when like this type of stuff, when that it's going to work, because let's be real, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not saying this in a negative way, I really haven't seen any sort of like advertisements or aggressive promotion. I mean, you have the social media obviously, and we're going to get into I'm going to start pulling up some photos and things like that as we're talking about this stuff, but this was as organic as it gets, right? I mean, Absolutely. You kind of put out that you were open to doing this stuff, and people just started proactively reaching out to you guys, right?
Yes,
this is what we want to do.
Come into their homes and we cook dinner essentially with them. And, we were already kind of prepped for this kind of business. We had an open kitchen at Poor Richard's. We were already performance cooking. You know what I mean? People already came back and stood and talked and played around with food back there with us. So it's not that big of a stretch for us to roll into your homes and cook these dinners with you. I think Richard was a little apprehensive at first. He's like, what is this catering? I'm like, it kind of is, but it's not. We're packing up our saucepans and we're rolling in their kitchens and just having a fun cooking experience and throwing down with them and feeding them great stuff. Clean it all up. It's like we were never there. It's spotless, and I kind of love that.
Yeah.
And for me, Nick, what I'm saying is, when you have a restaurant and it's successful and it's very much the community of our town and upstate and throughout all the people we've cooked for, the biggest difference in this private chefing is we have to go there as opposed to them coming to see us.
Sure.
And that, for me, in the beginning, kind of was like, that's a hard apple to bite. It's like, wow, this is totally harder than being in brick and mortar and your feet planted for 16 hours and you got a 12 by 12 little space where you're walking back and forth. Now I'm, you're walking across the yard, you got things going on in the smoker, you got to go up to the kitchen up at the Omer's Family Pharmacy. It's interesting. It's but it for me, I'm an old guy. I'm old school.
But I think he has come around. I think you really enjoy it because
I do. Yeah, absolutely love it.
I think it's fun. I've always loved to cater. It was something I did way before I ever got into serious restaurants. I catered in Charleston with friends up there, and I love packing it up and going into your house. You have to be super organized. You got to have all your S together, but I love that, and I think it's a fun, new, different, but the same, venue for us.
Well, yeah, because every time is a unique experience. Like Richard said, it's logistically challenging because you don't know until you get there. Like I would imagine there's probably a lot of these where you really haven't even kind of cased the joint, so to speak, before you go in there.
Right.
Or do you?
I try to pre-case the joint, especially those come out of Bluff Homes and some of the rentals. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that makes sense.
Our clients that we've had for 15 years at the restaurant, they know what they need. We're doing something next weekend. She's like, what do you need from me? I said, your grill, grill, and you sit there and open wine and chill out and hang out.
Some of these people's kitchens were 3 times the size of Poor Richard's. They had steam ovens. They had this and everything.
So I love it. I think it's fun.
Just interesting to go in and see what people have for setups. It's like, wow, what I could have done with this place.
I mean, just from my perspective as a mortgage loan originator working with real estate agents that are selling, these listings are, whether I look at the photos or whether I have the privilege to be in there, for a broker tour or an open house or some of these events that some of the real estate companies have. I just got invited to one by the May River Group with Engel and Volkers, where they're going to be having at one of their homes in Berkeley Hall. They're going to be having a special event. And for me, it's cool because, there's still a couple of neighborhoods and communities on Hilton Head that I haven't had the opportunity to go into. But out here in Bluffton, I've really had the chance to get to kind of explore. And even more recently, I finally got to go to Palmetto Bluff for the first time. And you guys were just there. I'm going to get into that in a second. But yeah, what I liked about what you both said was, it's a new and different experience every time you're going into one of these places because it's someone's home. But for years, and when did Poor Richard's open? Just so everybody knows. Originally.
2010.
2010. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about literally was like 14 plus years that you guys were there. And Richard referenced the community and referenced just the style of it. It was an open concept. So people would come in, I would be greeted usually by Allie walking right in the door with a nice big hug, Richard smiling right behind the counter and, your team, buzzing around, always smiling, always kind of, lively. The atmosphere is what was, other than the fact that the food was absolutely incredible. And my biggest challenge when I was dining there was, limiting myself. And a lot of times Jocelyn would have to rein me in because I wanted to order the whole menu. And a couple of times I came pretty close to it. Yeah. But aside from the food, which was spectacular, and I always say I do these things in the morning. I did it smart this morning. I made myself a little breakfast sandwich before I got on with you guys because even with Marcus yesterday, we didn't get to talking about food until like the last couple of minutes. I was hoping that the mic wasn't picking up my stomach growling as we started getting into talking about food and stuff like that towards the end of it. But the atmosphere was a huge part of it. And being able to come in and basically it's like you said, it's a variation of what you're doing right now because you're in people's kitchen and while you're cooking and while you're preparing everything, you're communicating with them. They're kind of in the mix. Obviously people weren't, standing behind the counter, but they were literally right there, whether they were sitting at the bar or whether they were sitting at the table. There was this communal atmosphere. And I always go back to Bluffton is a very unique place. They say Bluffton is a state of mind. It absolutely is. I fell in love with Hilton Head from the very first time that I came down here, whether I always say when I was 10 years old. I don't remember if it was give or take a couple of years before or after that. I just know that I immediately fell in love with Hilton Head. When I met Jocelyn and she came down with my family, she immediately fell in love with it. But what I fell in love with even more was when we would get to, halfway through the week, and I always make people laugh when I say this, you know, you're in close quarters with a loud Italian family for 4 or 5 days in a row. You need a breather. So by the time Wednesday, Thursday rolled around, that started to become Jocelyn and I splitting off and let's go check out Bluffton. Let's go grab a cocktail at the Pearl, and then we'll go down the street and have dinner at Farm. And I want to come back to that, because one of my favorite things, going back to when you had the restaurant and even now through until today, and I'm sure you have even more flexibility to do it, Richard, not having to go check up on the restaurant like you did every day, even if you weren't open. I know about that part too, but I want to talk about your guys' adventures, because I have a lot of fun, whether it's music, whether it's food, whatever you guys are always doing. You drop little photos here and there, and I always have a lot of fun with that, because you're very adventurous. But to bring it back to what I was saying, that was the beauty of that place, was the family atmosphere, the state of mind. I have friends that I've made inside and outside of the real estate business, and the one thing that was unanimous among all of them was Poor Richard's was, if not number one, it was always at the very top of the list of where we were going to go for when we had friends in town, when we had families in town, when we had special occasions. Like I said, I think I probably did a birthday for me there. I think I did a birthday for Jocelyn there. When my family all finally moved here, we were sitting there, at the big table in the corner there, like I said, right in the back to the left. It was always in experience. One of the most fun things that I've ever done was actually when you guys were on vacation and Leah and Justin were doing their little staycation, and they had kind of like an invite only. We're going to do a tasting menu. Jocelyn and I basically were the last ones there, and we had so much fun, hanging out and spend some quality time. Of course, the next day, I think they were headed down to Daytona to some music festival where they were going to see Tool, which is one of my favorite bands. And so, it was always great to spend time with you guys and Justin and Leah and everybody else. And you're bringing that same element now to this new endeavor, this personal, private chef endeavor. So what I would say, and I'm going to start getting into some of the photos now as I'm going to share my screen. So you guys have had some really kind of cool stuff, and we talked about, the neighborhoods and the homes and everything like that are great. Let's talk about some of the types of events that you've been doing as I bring up the stage here. This was just on today's Wednesday. This was Monday late in the day, and I remember I think my comment's right here. Ooh, this is going to play well tomorrow. It says it right there. And so this was in Palmetto Bluff very recently, right? Was it this past week?
Yeah, that was Saturday and Sunday. I had a group of ladies who were there to celebrate their one of the girls' 40th birthday. So they wanted breakfast, 8:30 a.m. breakfast. So they could just roll down in their robes and have coffee and munch and recuperate and get ready to do it all again that night. So I showed up with, muffins and coffee cakes and quiches and green juices and everything you need when you want to stay healthy and throw down at the same time.
This quiche looks incredible.
And the parfaits. Everybody loves a parfait.
Everybody loves a parfait. Everybody loves, there you go, birthday girl brunch.
Oh, yeah.
We got some nice fruit there. We got some muffins. We got some pastries and everything like that.
All of the things.
Oh, is that the Natalie's tangerine
juice?
Juice?
That is the best juice.
Oh.
We have tangerine trees at our house that are prolific, and we harvest those right around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I keep that juice in my freezer, and we drink it all year long. So when Natalie's came out with tangerine juice, I lost my mind. It is so good.
Have you had the guava lemonade, Allie?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Food shows too. That's really high-end company. They're really, really good.
So Nosh, my new favorite bagel spot down the street here. Yeah. I'm always BSing with the owner, Michael Pachansky, him and his wife Jen. He brings in the Natalie, so he's got the I think he's got the orange juice. I know he's got the I think it's the strawberry lemonade, the regular lemonade, but really that guava lemonade is just incredible. And then he had it, and then he didn't have it, but then when I went back there a week or two ago, he had it again, and it was just it's not a big bottle, so I try to just take like little sips of just to kind of really enjoy it. And I'll always usually get like a couple because I want to have one with my bagel or my sandwich, and then usually I want to have one that I'm going to take home. That stuff is really good.
They make the best mimosas. The best.
Yes,
mimosas.
Absolutely. I want to throw this out there because I think this is kind of cool. So it says, our philosophy at Two Chefs No Magic, we believe that great food doesn't need tricks, just fresh, honest ingredients and serious know-how. That's why our menu changes with the seasons, built around what's local, in season, and at its peak. We work closely with South Carolina farmers, fishers, and artisans to bring you the best the region has to offer. From just picked produce to responsibly raised meats and seafood, we let quality speak for itself. No shortcuts, no smoke and mirrors, just real food made by real chefs. Let's talk about that, because I know that's a challenge for a lot of people. And I want to get to this thing next too with the lobster, because that caught my eye a couple of weeks ago when you guys posted that. It wasn't even, it was actually about 2 weeks ago. Let's talk about that, because I know, like, as an example, like, for example, like Matt Wallace over at Black Sheep, which was, it was Black Sheep on Boundary. It was a restaurant. You would go there. You had to have reservations well in ahead of time. If you were lucky, I can't remember if it was the neon sign was lit, or if it wasn't lit, meant that there was seats available at the bar. And then they kind of transitioned to more of a wine shop / luncheonette. And I remember, I think one of the reasons why he did that was to kind of alleviate the issues that he was running into in terms of sourcing stuff. So let's talk about that part of it, because that's the thing that separates, the men from the boys, so to speak, in this business is, and this is what drives me nuts when people start going crazy about food costs and prices and things like that, because people really don't understand.
Good food is expensive, and it should be not expensive, but it should cost something. I mean,
sure,
to grow good food is not a cheap process.
Even lower grade meats are expensive.
Right.
It's not like there's no money involved. It's amazing. Fish prices, in my days, seeing the prices of fish, I mean, you're talking almost $32 a pound for certain groupers, and that's our cost. It used to be $19.95 or $18.95, $19.75, and that was fillet. The prices are increased by $10, $12, $14 a pound.
And it's not just
in just the 33 years that I've been here down here.
Right.
Area.
So there's a lot of planning that goes into these events, the planning and prep, because you got to know what you're needing to bring and stuff like that. But there's a whole other level of it. And this is what I've spoken to, like with my friend Antonio, who's, moved here from New Jersey last year. He's, AMA private dining. I've gotten to enjoy some of his events and some of the pop-ups that he's done.
Yeah,
he's doing really well. But the challenge with that is, where you're going to be searching and finding these ingredients from. So I know, Richard, that's usually why you're over at the farmer's market, most weeks, right? Because you're kind of strolling around saying, what do we have? What's available out there? What are some of the other sources? And like, just to kind of walk us through in the time leading up to it, when you have this event and you've designed the menu, which obviously you guys are putting your heads together, the creativity is off the charts. So how do you then go from, this is the idea conceptually that we've put together, and this is when and where and how we want to deliver it? How do the nuts and bolts go into where we're going to find A, B, C, and D? And I'm sure inevitably, right, there's going to be hurdles and challenges. Maybe this one's out of this. How do you manage that? Because people, I don't think, realize just the amount of, and like you said, Richard, when you're in a restaurant, yes, you have similar challenges, but you have constantly stuff's being dropped off. And I remember I was at Radici a couple of months ago or whatever, and the fish was getting dropped off, and you're getting orders from early in the morning throughout the whole course of the day. But in the restaurant, you're there, and it's like you don't have to go. Yeah, you might be going around to source ingredients. I know Jeff Bernard from Ocon is all over the country looking for stuff.
A menu every day. After COVID, Richard designed a menu a different menu every day. So he got really good at that. Immediate sourcing and his sources themselves, his purveyors and the people you've met.
And just start, like seafood alone, you got Toomer's source food. You got the May River Oyster Boys that have a great product.
Got Josh over at Russo, where you need to run in there and grab it.
They have, I think, some of the prettiest fish displays. Sea Eagle has, during the year, a dive boat, and it goes out from South Carolina, North Carolina, and they come back, and then they just have like the bounty was hogfish, grouper, blah 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 blah. So when you see that boat came in, you know you're going to have a great product,
and you better grab it.
Are you guys what's the so like people are always asking me, how do you know? And that was one of my favorite things, by the way, and I would share it 99% of the time when you guys would put out the menu just about almost every day. And I had a lot of FOMO when there was things on there that I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it for this and this. But how do you, because you guys know I'm fanatical about this stuff, and I'm going to have an announcement that's going to come maybe today, hopefully this week, and I've kind of let you guys in on it, and it's going to hopefully eventually alleviate this type of stuff, but not everybody's as crazy as me. How does it work in terms of, like, people say, how do you know what these places are having which day? Well, I spend a lot of time, whether it's work or personal, just scrolling through, and I set up certain things, whether I'm getting a newsletter via email or whether I'm getting notifications for Poor Richard's posted the menu, this is what we're doing this week or today or whatever. What's the mechanism for being in the know and in the loop on what's coming in on this boat, what's going to be in this store? How do you don't obviously have to run over there every time. Is there a means
no, those
to
are contacts? And Richard's had his contacts for seafood and produce for how many 40 something years, I mean,
right.
It's been a long time, and he gets text messages from boat captains. He gets the alert from so and so. He's got the relationship with the people in the produce and the Hardy Greens. He just has known all these people, so he has just worked those relationships, and he knows who to call, and he gets the messages. He gets the emails daily. And
over the years, I've worked for such great restaurants and great chefs that it all kind of, the puzzle all comes together to find these things. If you need something, you call them, and they're like, everybody's willing to help.
And everything's seasonal, like our vegetables. Our fish is seasonal too. I'm 9 generations from here, and I still ask Richard, is it shrimp time yet? I mean, come on, I know it's fall, but he knows when the cobia are running. He knows when this is when the triggerfish are here. He knows all of this thing. So he just knows the seasons.
Yeah, I used to have a chart that I studied. It's all the different types of groupers and snapper and this, that, and the other. And I had it on a wall, and it would tell you the calendar year, what sections of the year of the season was closed for conservation.
That's incredible.
Years of practice.
And the funny thing is, I can't remember anything. I can remember a recipe in a book within 5 pages, and I got 1,000 books.
You know exactly when the cobia are running.
I know exactly why we're not getting any hogfish in, or why now the grouper is sourced someplace else. It's like, because everything now, when you get a text or an email, it tells you, because you have to put place of origin.
Okay.
And now you start reading down the line, and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking, and I'm like, where is this place? And then next thing you know, I got my phone and I'm like Googling where is surimi and where all these funny places. It's like, oh, how close is that to here?
And then we still have our specialty food purveyors. I mean, Richard still has Yuri, with the high-end food, the high-end steaks. And if we can't find something through them, then we'll, we always try local. We have local butchers. We love Jay.
You said Yuri, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yuri Gao. Yeah. He's become a friend. I got to meet him at the seafood festival last year, and he's been a great connection for me. You mentioned Hardy Greens. The Harstas are incredible. I'm going to be doing something over at Hardy Greens. I did a cool thing out at New Leaf several weeks ago, and I did that podcast. That was actually what was Selma. It was I misspoke. I said what's it called? The self-help that was actually last week, but I'm going to be doing Hardy Greens with Jen. I'm probably going to be doing something with because that's how I met Jen, was from Antonio, and I ran into her one day at at Shea George when I was having lunch or picking up lunch there. Then I ran into Rule when he was dropping stuff off at Joel when I was having lunch there last week with Maggie and Jevin. These are great places. So you mentioned Hardy Greens, you mentioned Yuri. What was the last one that you just mentioned? I didn't mean to cut you off.
We have a great specialty meat purveyor, but there's also Jay, our local butcher. If you can't find something, call Jay. He'll find
Jay?
it.
Is that a brick and mortar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's over by where
the butcher shop. I'm sorry, Jay, that I don't know the exact name of your business.
Is this the one in Berkeley Place?
Yeah.
Yeah, Berkeley.
Oh, yeah. Oh, forget it. The meat's there. I mean, that's pretty much the top of the line, right? If you're going to a butcher in Bluffton, you're going there.
Yeah.
I actually.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Nantucket has
some
great stuff.
Oh, yes.
And people
we shop all the time.
And people look at me and say, "Oh, it's so expensive."
Yeah.
But I look at them and I tell them, when you see that ribeye, that's not for one person. So if it's $2 a pound, you have a party of 4, you've bought one steak, and then you slice it, put it on your steak board, and you make, or you take that fillet, you split it in half, and now you have 2 6-ounce fillets. But the quality of prime beef at the market is astronomically through the roof.
And the fish too. I got some ahi sushi grade tuna there one time to do something. Yeah. I think it was something for one of the holidays. The place is have you guys tried the pizza there? I heard the pizza in pints. I heard the pizza's pretty solid.
I did.
Did you?
I did hear it. I did hear it was
good. I've heard good.
A lot.
There back home we had a place called the Market Basket. Now I know that there's a chain up in the Northeast that's called the Market Basket. This is not what I'm referring to. Where I grew up in Wyckoff, New Jersey, right around the corner from my house. Like it's a little bit different down here. Like back home, I could be at the Market Basket in 5 minutes. You guys were my favorite restaurant that was closest to my house, but that's a 15-minute ride, down Bluffton. But it's just a little bit different. Things are laid out different with the communities and everything like that. But back home, we had the Market Basket. And I was lucky because we had the little store in Wyckoff, and then they opened a huge one in Franklin Lakes, which is where my high school was. And that was like more of like a grocery store type of place. And let me tell you, that place was dangerous because, I mean, first of all, the one in Wyckoff, my mom would always get her meats. They were open till like 6 o'clock on weekdays. I think they may eventually have been open a little bit later, but you had to get there. She had a relationship with the butcher, became a very good friend of the family. He always knew like what she was looking for in terms of her steaks and everything like that. Lunchtime, the place was always jammed up, whether it was day workers or people just taking their lunch break, going to grab a sandwich. I worked at the pharmacy next door delivering prescriptions after school. That was one of my first jobs. I worked at a movie theater. And then once I got my driver's license, I started doing deliveries for the pharmacy. The pharmacist was like almost like an uncle, like a godfather type person. He would buy us dinner basically from this place. So I cannot tell you how many sandwiches that I had from the Market Basket during those years that I was there. Whether I was before or after I was working at the, but that's what Nantucket reminds me of. It reminds me of this place where you can get your meat, you can get your fish, you can even grab something to eat there. You can grab a couple of beers. It's great. This is the perfect segue because you're talking about what things cost, right? So about 2 weeks ago, I went to check out this new restaurant, the Main Cafe, which is behind Santa Fe. So this is a woman. I was embarrassed that I asked her where she was from because after 4 years in Boston, going to college at BC, I should have known because as soon as the words start coming out of her mouth, the North Shore, Boston, like it was very obvious where she was from. And one of the things that I asked her was, because let's be real, most of the stuff on this menu is lobster rolls, lobster mac and cheese, lobster this, lobster grilled cheese, like all of this kind of stuff. And people don't realize, lobster is expensive. I mean, one of the best things that I've ever had was Richard's, deconstructed lobster roll, which was incredible. And yes, there's a price tag that's associated with that. And I want to get right into the baked stuffed lobster from there, because that's one of the things that people don't realize. I mean, yes, we have a lot of seafood down here. We have local shrimp, we have local oysters, local fish and stuff like that. But the lobster is not really coming from somewhere close to here. So there's a price tag associated with that, right, Richard?
Absolutely. And with, lobsters this year, I bought a ton of lobsters in the last couple of years. I noticed, they're up $2.50 a pound.
Oh my
and
goodness.
it never came down this summer. You know,
Right.
like I've never last year I was paying $11.95 for £1.5 lobsters. This
Right.
year, right today, I looked at my it's $15 a pound.
Holy smokes!
Some
That's
of
like
it
50% markup, right?
well,
Or 50% increase. Sorry.
increase.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
a lot of that has to do that some places get them from Maine. Some people resource their stuff from Canada. So now you have the tariffs on top of the lobster,
Right.
because they're coming into the country. And hey, you know, McDonald's, it isn't.
Right.
So the prices of lobsters and scallops is we use U8 scallops for years at the restaurant. And I think they averaged about like $2.60 a gallon.
Right.
They're up to $315 a gallon now.
Oh my goodness.
So, and then, you know, that's New Bedford. That's you know, the fish and brunt of that.
Right.
But, you know, so, you know, and then you take the fuel that the fishermen have to use. And then, you know, the tractor doesn't drive on solar power.
Right.
You know?
When I worked for Schreiber Foods International for like a year and a half or so after I left the nets back in the day, that's one of the things that I learned, that fuel costs were something that were factored into that, whether you were going with the tractor, with the trailers, or sometimes we had to ship stuff across the country. And then when you had weather, you had to make sure that it was wrapped in blankets or that it was in temperature controlled and stuff like that. There's a cost associated with all that. What was that was one of my favorites, other than, you know, tuna of the moment, right? That you always had in the apps. What was the scallops one with the creamy sauce? It was Mornay or something like that.
Yeah, scallops Mornay.
Oh my God, that was with that creamy sauce was incredible. And I don't think I ever. What's that?
Tuna madness.
Yes, the tuna madness. I should know. I'm the biggest macho man, Randy Savage guy. I got a robe that says madness on it, and I forgot that it was tuna madness. Let's be real. Did I ever come for dinner and not get the tuna madness? There was a couple appointments. I was always going to get French onion soup unless you had a special one. What's that?
Even if Justin just sent it out to you, you always had it.
Always. And then remember when my friend came to visit me, I said, we're going to dinner at Poor Richard's, and he has like some dietary restrictions, but I know he loosened up the rules for that night, because that's probably one of those ones where I ordered half the menu just to give him a little bit of introduction of how we do things down here. So talk to me about this pre-order for the baked stuffed lobster for the holidays.
Well, you want to shoot it?
Well, I guess I can do it. I was going to shoot something out towards the middle of October, exactly what to do. But we started doing this years ago at the restaurant because we get great lobsters, and Richard's stuffed lobster would sell out every night we ran it. So around the holidays, customers that we would cater for anyway would call us and say, can I get 4? Can I get 6? You know, can I get 12? The whole family's here. So since we don't have the restaurant, but we still have a kitchen and we're still doing this, and we have the same great purveyors that we can source the same great lobsters, I thought, why not just prep those and sell those ready to bake in your oven? You know, they'll come all dressed, stuffed, wined up, lemoned up, everything they need to be in a pan that will go right into your oven. I don't think we've discussed pre-cooking them for anybody yet. No. Okay, good. No.
It's a no-brainer. You know, you take that after stuffing it, and you write 350. 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay, no, wait. No. Okay, I'm just going to put this out there. You think it would be a no-brainer. And these lobsters, these will be packaged in oven-friendly packaging, right? But at the restaurant, we used to recycle plastic containers to use. And our seafood always come in these nice, big, blue, shallow boxes, right? So those would go through the dish machine, and we have this big, beautiful, long Tupperware. So we gave these two stuffed lobsters to a really great customer, and she's so lovely. And we gave them to her in the blue plastic box because of pressed down lid. And we knew they were going in her fridge for a while. And, you know, we assumed that she would know to put them in a different pan to bake them. No, that blue plastic box went right into her oven. And she said that was the biggest nightmare of her life. And I didn't think that to take them out of the plastic. So now when we do it, we'll just do it in oven friendly.
Oh my God. It probably melted all over the oven.
Oh my God. I was like, wow. You know, I was fascinated.
You know what I've done in the past, because I'm such a dummy? once in a while, you don't feel like cooking, whatever you get. And actually, it was pretty damn good. This most recent one that I got. Fortunately, I didn't make this gaff when I made it, but you got those pizzas that you throw in the oven that you get frozen, right? The Rouse. We had a Rouse last week that was legit. That's a company that makes the sauce, right? RIO. Sometimes you don't realize you take it out of the plastic. There's like a cardboard disc underneath the pizza. And a lot of times it's stuck or whatever to the pie. So I've probably not since we moved here, I haven't made that mistake, but there was definitely once or twice when we were back in Jersey where I popped one of these pies in the oven. Fortunately, it wasn't a fire or anything like that. I remember one time I was broiling a steak and I opened the oven and it was like an inferno because it, the juices kind of whatever, the grease kind of lit up and it went out right away. Fortunately, I had a fire extinguisher right in that kitchen if I would have needed it. But yeah, there was a couple of times where I forgot to take that little disc off, and that was that made for interesting. Yeah, you get that's the thing. You sometimes to a fault, you have to make sure that you almost give over instructions.
Absolutely,
but it's good that you're kind of preventing that by giving them packaging that they don't have to worry about that stuff.
But they're going to be £1.5 Maine lobsters. Richard takes them. He scoops them out. He mixes that lobster meat with more shrimp and scallops and crab. And if we have people with allergies, we may go like no crab 1 week or whatever we need to do.
Right.
But and a little bit of breadcrumbs and his seasonings, and he packs it all back in there.
Right.
And when it goes in the oven, and you a little drizzle of butter on top and squeeze a lemon, and you are done. And they're just they're delicious. They're rich. They're an extravagance. And we're just trying to actually between the two of us right now work out how we're going to have people actually pick them up. We come to the kitchen, do all that farmer's market slot and pass them out on Thursdays. We'll figure that out in the next couple of weeks, but I've got about that long to figure it out actually. And then I'll put it out there on social like I always do, take orders for a week and then cut it off.
I love it.
Like first 2 weeks in November or end of October, first week, November, something like that. And then take as many as we want and then cut it off.
Okay. I'm going to talk to my mom this afternoon. I know Jocelyn's planning on going up to Portland to visit her family for one of the holidays. She's going up in a couple of weeks to visit them, and I'm going to hang back because I got work stuff going on. But more importantly, I have a kitten that turns the oven on. So we have to figure out a babysitting situation for him.
I know that.
It's a sequence of buttons, by the way. And I've mentioned this already. We woke up one morning, the oven was preheating to 400 degrees.
My cat, I don't know. What's up with cats, dude? Our cat, I was like, is something on fire? It was the cat.
I don't know you could lock the buttons, but now we do. Now when we're not using the oven, we hold the one button down so that the button's locked. We just cut all the pilot lights off. We just cut the gas off. I said, forget it. Well, that's the thing. Hopefully he doesn't figure out how to turn the dials. Jesus Christmas.
We have a 6-burner professional,
at the house
commercial that I put in when I built this thing 26 years ago. And so every once in a while, I'll cook in the house. I'm kind of like really
we don't
weird.
Cook inside our house.
I don't like I don't like my house to smell.
We cook on the porch. Yeah.
Okay.
So
like we were doing a party and I went outside. I turned the gas and lit the pilots, and we were sitting there, and I'm like, "Damn, did someone just die?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I smell hair burning." Well, the fluffy cat's tail went over the.
Because she's walking across the lit stove.
What are you
doing?
Just pilot light, and she got her tail in it, and it was like
the joy of animal ownership. Never.
It's like Christmas Vacation that cat had 9 lives. I think it lost every last one of them or something like that.
Well, you averted. They're also annoyed with us because we're home. We're home so much more than we ever were. And the animals are like, "Why are you here?"
Right.
Yeah. The dogs, they don't like me anymore. They've heard every story. They said, "Don't you have to go to work for 16 hours for the next 15 years again?"
You guys
helping the whole family.
You got to see the look on Juno's face with some of the stuff that this cat does. I mean, he not only does he like climb on her face and he's chewing on her paws. Yesterday, he leapt right over, like he'll jump off of the couch onto her, onto something else. She just gives you that look like, I mean, she loves him, but she's very patient, but she'll give us a look like, what are you doing to me with this guy? He's a blessing, but he's also a Tasmanian devil when it comes to stuff like that. So I want to just cover, I want to kind of whip through a couple more of these things that you've been doing as I continue to make myself hungrier and hungrier. So earlier this month, We had Blake and Ginny,
Oh, yeah.
Blake's birthday bash. So you
Yes.
had crab cakes with remoulade. You had grilled ribeyes. You had peach and burrata salad. You had grilled farmers market veggies. I don't know what this tuna question mark,
Okay,
and then
well,
of course some delicious desserts. But look at this, this ribeye. My goodness, tell us about
yeah,
this.
so they wanted ribeyes, and we surprised them because we've known Blake. We've been feeding Blake since his 25th extravaganza when he came down and visited us for his birthday then at the restaurant. So we surprised him with the giant tomahawks, which who doesn't want a giant steak on a giant bone? And then the board sausage, the fun presentation. Richard, I gave him one of those booze boards Christmas years and years ago. And so now he'll chop up the parsley and the garlic and the herbs and tomatoes and everything on this board with the olive oil. And then you put that hot steak on it. And while it rests, all those juices wilt, all those herbs and greens. And then you just slice that steak on that board and just scoop up your piece of steak with all the little stuff, all the little tomatoes and the parsleys and the
capers,
herbs. It's just
garlic.
delicious. It's so good.
You take it off the bone and you slice it,
Yeah.
and then you kind of just, it's like chopped salad with the steak already included.
It's just delicious. So the board sauce has been a fun thing. We've been doing a lot. That booze board is heavy. I mean, we're hauling that in and out of places, but it's worth it because the presentation is so fun.
We did it last weekend too for a party.
Yeah.
In
Palmetto Bluff.
at the
We
Bluff.
call it the board steak. Whatever board
You guys are-
steak works.
You're killing me. I'm gonna steal that and do that
It's
next time I
so-
grill
it's
up a
so
steak, because
yummy.
you gotta let it sit anyway. You might as well let it sit
Yeah.
on top of that beautiful bed of
Thank you.
veggies.
Exactly
Nick,
right.
basically, it's
Exactly
a salsa verde.
Right.
But you don't put it in a blender. You just chop it up,
And leave it on
put
that board.
tomatoes,
Whatever
capers,
you want works.
arugula,
I know.
anything that green, and it just the juice just kind of blends in. And who doesn't like a good salad full of myoglobin?
Full of what?
Myoglobin.
Oh my God. I love it. That's incredible. So what was the tuna? That was kind of like a wild card that you
No, the boys were they were going fishing a couple of days while they
Oh,
were there.
okay.
If they caught tuna, we were going to, do something. a la menu
Incorporate
with it,
that.
yeah, when we were there.
I like
they
it. So
caught
there's guys, good. I'm sorry.
They caught a few things, but they ate it all before we got there.
Gotcha. There's ways to obviously, when you're creating this thing, creatively, there's like, obviously, generally what they want, but then, maybe you come up with an ingredient on the fly, whether it's something that they caught or something that you found, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to find a way to incorporate this. I sped right over it before when we were talking about the parfait. One of the obvious benefits of this whole situation is that we don't just have or these customers and clients don't just have the benefit of Richard's madness, if you will. They also are benefiting from the missus, who is an absolute diabolical evil genius when it comes to these desserts. So I don't have a photo of this, but we're going to get to some photos in a second. Allie, you are completely out of control when it comes to this stuff. So this is a lot of this stuff is your brainchild when it comes to the desserts. Obviously the chocolate bourbon pecan chess pie, that was always a hit at Poor Richard's. I remember the one time that was like a Twix bar kind of situation. I remember the one that I think that might have been the what's the one with the milk, that Spanish word with the
tres leche.
Oh
Yeah, I have a couple of variations. I'm making one next weekend. It was her favorite cake, the raspberry tres leche. So that's on the menu for next weekend's party on Saturday.
Raspberry tres leche. That is incredible. And I'm going to get to, I got them right here. We got some sweet potato scones.
Yeah, I just made those because I wanted some scones for breakfast, and I was just shocked at how yummy they were. I had leftover sweet potatoes.
That's incredible. Look at these.
I
mean, we're talking about sourcing ingredients. Look at these unbelievable.
We have a
shrimp rolls.
forager. We have a forager who we call up and go, "Hey, Roberto, let's get some shrooms," and whatever's got, he goes and gets.
That's one of my favorite things. My brothers-in-law own a cheese shop up in Biddeford called Nibblesford. And I love learning about the purveyors of different, because obviously, they do some paninis and stuff like that, but they're selling cheese and wine and specialty stuff. They're doing a lot of charcuterie platters and things like that. I love learning about, I think it's North Spore is the provider up there that they get a lot of their mushrooms from. I get to learn about where the breads and things like that come from. What's the story with this, this shawarma.
Oh my gosh. That was such a fun experiment. You know, Richard, we got this small rotisserie oven to play with, and next thing I know, Richard has packed all this delicious marinated chicken thigh meat. You know, he's got all the spices and stuff from the restaurant.
So I take the blend of spices and we just mixed it all up, and I stuck it on there, let it rest.
Packed it on that night. And then he started making the bread. I look over and he's kneading this lavash dough, and I'm like,
you made it. This is all this like this pita, this lavash homemade.
Yes.
Look at how beautiful that looks.
It was so good. I've got one piece left in the freezer right now. I'm gonna eat it for lunch.
So you're rolling out the dough, and then you're basically griddling that up in a pan, giving it that beautiful texture on the outside.
Great
and then
sandwiches.
And then you're rolling up a sandwich with this chicken shawarma. Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me.
Really well.
You know what helps us is where we stand out with the homemade pastries and baked goods. Did a party this weekend, made a wild blueberry gravlax, but I also made miniature rye bread. So we made homemade rye bread, and then I made Japanese milk bread for. I made pate, truffled pate, which pate was always on the menu.
Always. So delicious. Jocelyn's, that's probably what she misses the most.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that was definitely the pate. She wanted that pretty much every single time with all the accoutrement.
But he secretly loves baking bread and did not have that much time to actually play with that at the restaurant. So, like for the party, he made the pate breads. He made the breads.
Yeah, fishing was off this week, so.
Right on.
A little extra work help. No fishing.
I'm also seeing this sesame pumpkin seed gremolata.
Oh my God, that was a revelation, dude! I could eat that on a shoe and be happy.
Look at this.
I don't even know what made them come up. That was all Richard. I don't know.
Yeah.
So freaking good. Yeah.
So Richard, he ventures into the sweets a little bit too, I guess, huh?
Well, that gremolata is that's savory.
Oh, it is. Okay. I think pumpkin and I think sweet, but yeah, you're right. It's got more of a savory profile.
It was so good on fish and chicken. Yeah.
You put it on local trigger with grilled. I missed that. Local trigger, grilled eggplant, and steamed artichoke. And so that's where it says, tell Richard you want this at the farmer's market.
I know, right?
Right.
He took those chanterelles and he made a bunch of compound butter, and he's got this beautiful little tins of local chanterelle compound butter that we're starting to stack up in the freezer at work. So there's some stuff that needs to go to the farmer's market.
I got some pate too. You might need to give me a call tomorrow.
Yeah, bro, dude. Well, forget about giving you a call. If you're gonna be there, you're talking about chanterelle compound butter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I'm sold. I always say I could live on mushrooms, olives, and cheese.
He really wants to do the farmer's market, so he's been saying it.
And I have that butter, and I do have pate left from this weekend.
Really?
If you need a snack.
If you really get yourself in the dog house.
Dude, I think that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it is my anniversary this weekend, folks.
Look at
you.
Hopefully she doesn't watch the podcast before this weekend, and I can surprise her maybe with a little pate. Let's talk offline before tomorrow, because I know that I got let's see, I think am I recording something again tomorrow? Either way, it's very easy for me to swing that. Yeah, I'm meeting going to be recording with Mattia at 1:00. So if I don't get a chance to pop over before that, maybe I'll stop by after I record with. It's 12 to 4 now is the farmer's market, right?
Yeah, we won't be at the farmer's market.
Oh, okay. Not tomorrow, but I could always link up with you.
I'll meet you.
I mean, we'll be there, but not selling things. We'll be buying things.
All right, maybe I'll just meet you there, and I'll throw it and bring a cooler and throw it in the car. Let's just do a quick lightning round, and then I'm going to let you guys go because we're running up on an hour. So we had because we got to go through a couple of these things.
Oh yeah.
Summer showers and blue flowers. We did a Southern Bride's brunch. I'm just going to scroll through these things. What is this deliciousness?
That's just a sweet little Italian lemon cake with fresh blackberries.
Jesus Christ.
Real simple cake. And those are Richard's favorite oysters in the whole world. Those are really favorite oysters. And what's on there, babe?
It's very simple. It's little cherry tomatoes, slice of jalapeno, lemon juice, pinch of salt, and some
that was the
Hardy Greens.
Those are rainbow sprinkles. Hardy Greens rainbow sprinkles, I believe.
Hardy Greens has this innate ability to make vegetables that look like candy.
We use them at every single job.
It's incredible.
They're represented.
She is incredible. I can't wait to go over there and do stuff with them.
I know.
What do we got here? Some crab cakes?
Yes, some mini crab cakes. That was the girls' brunch buffet, the bridal brunch buffet. They had that peach burrata salad, crab cakes, a giant nosh board. See, that's every olives and hummus.
Spread. I would just camp out on the side of the table with this olive spread with the hummus or whatever is that, hummus, baba ganoush, whatever it is.
All of
we got the
things
toast points. You got the crostini.
I love food.
Look at that. Just put this thing in front of me and leave me for an hour. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Allie. What'd you say?
Me too. That's how I like to eat. I love to pick stuff up and just mow through trays like that.
Just grazing. Yeah. And then we got Chef's new toy, Kahachina. What the heck is this?
Yeah, that's you.
They call it a Cajun microwave.
Right?
So it's a wooden box.
Chinese cooking box.
Which you put inside and you build your fire on top of a tray. And it's sealed. But so it roasts. It doesn't smoke.
Under the charcoal. It's very cool. Very
the food, the meat is, what are this? Is duck?
Those are ducks.
This is you're telling me that it's roasting under the charcoal?
Uh-huh.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah. Look at this.
Porchetta, Mr. Italiano.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the best things I had in Italy. I ate so many porchetta sandwiches, I thought I was going to die, and I lost 10 pounds.
I don't even know what it tastes like.
Yeah, he doesn't eat pork. He has it for like 5-6 years.
Oh, so you're making all this stuff and
I'm the taster. I'll eat it for all of us. It's fine.
Well, you and me both.
Love that. Love that.
That is just incredible.
Those ducks were
what a freaking cool concept. We're looking from underneath. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And then we got I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just crispy skin. Everything gets so crispy coming out of the Kahachina.
You can it holds up to a 80-pound hog.
Yeah.
Or pig. So you can roast your pig. You split it open. It's got that where it had the ducks were sitting. It's a cage. And so you, after so many hours, you flip it, and then it takes that skin and turns it into an instant chicharron.
Oh my God, I can't even.
Chicharron. That's that crispy skin is one of the best parts about doing that stuff.
We're gonna do it with that, with that machine soon. With that.
Okay, cool. I noticed Santa Fe just came out with some specials this week. They got duck taquitos going on over there, so I'm gonna have to loop that in this week. They had duck taquitos and some sort of creamy something enchilada that piqued Jocelyn's, and both of them actually did. She kills me because I find so much stuff on my own, and then she'll start sending me Instagram things and everything like that. She was showing me. She's an enabler. She's enabling my addiction.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. All right, just a couple quick more. We got again some more good stuff from the farmers market. We got some peaches here. Looks like with some cauliflower, asparagus, some zucchini, some peppers. I mean, this is literally, this is art. This is a work of art, not just the way that this stuff is prepared, but the presentation is just incredible. We have another. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You eat with your eyes, and then
I do. Yeah. My eyes a lot of times are bigger than my stomach. So this is the marina, I guess, that you were talking about. This was earlier this summer. This was some of the places. I guess these are these some of the places where you source this stuff?
No, that was a response I'd put out to Shrimpgate.
Oh, okay.
Restaurants that were selling real.
Got it. Yeah. Because a lot of people say that they are
recognized for that.
They say that they're selling local shrimp, but they're really not, right?
Yeah, they were all tested, You didn't hear about Shrimpgate, where that woman tested all the shrimp in Charleston?
No, but I got like a little wind of it. But no, please tell me about that.
So many restaurants advertising local wild-caught shrimp that were just imported, frozen. And this lady tested them and blasted the whole restaurant scene. Well, 60-75% of those restaurants were lying about where they sourced their shrimp. And we're big truth in menu people, and my family used to own it. So I'm like, no. If anything is super sacred, it's going to be our local produce, our local shrimp, our local seafood. Everything we can produce locally has got to be represented properly. You know? Yeah, Shrimpgate was major. It was awesome.
For real. I mean, there's been a couple instances where I've gone and it's like, oh yeah, it's local, and I'm like, I can tell by the size of this and the texture and so on and so forth.
Truth in menu is everything.
You got to be honest about it.
Menu, but also, how do you exclude North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina as not? To me, I believe that's local.
Yes.
Yeah, it's local.
That's
Yes.
Southern coast, our coast. We're talking
Yeah.
about the frozen shrimp from Thailand and stuff like that.
Indonesia, all
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
the
stuff.
radioactive shrimp, the
India.
shrimp that glowed in the dark.
India.
Yeah. Did you see that video where the one guy said that if you ate the shrimp, you were going to turn into an alien? That was amusing. That was kind of funny. Yeah, and then just one other quick one, just to kind of give people like the variety of these events. You did a housewarming party.
Oh,
This was
Beth.
back in April, I
Yeah.
think. And what do you got? Some
That's stuffed triggerfish, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crab and stuffed triggerfish. That's where Beth. I'm doing a party for her in a few weeks. Actually, that was her
Okay.
housewarming. So all the good local veggies from the farmers market. Oh, a beautiful kale mac and cheese salad. That's a crazy good. Delicious.
Kale mac and cheese?
Yes.
What?
Richard does that. He massages that kale. It's so good.
And that's
Incredible. You get some couscous with strawberries.
Farro.
Oh, farro. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I got the wrong grain.
That's one of the best grains ever. Do you cook that in chicken stock, and it is to die for.
Jocelyn's the grain expert in the family.
Yes.
I always got to look to her for the grains. I got a lot of the other stuff figured out, but the grains is definitely something where I need to learn more. Okay, so now that we're running up, we got an hour here. I just want to wind things up. So what are some things that are coming up, like types of events that you guys got going on? Is there anything that you guys are ruminating on, ingredient wise, anything that you're kind of like in the whatever you want to call it, and in the kitchen and testing stuff out and R&D and all this other kind of stuff? What's in the works right now? Anything in the engine that you guys want to talk about?
Well, I mentioned the farmers market, and that is
Sure.
ready to get there for fall, and he's got some really good products to throw into that situation. And
Right.
then we are still, we kind of thought we had a location that we wanted to do a commercial kitchen in. We kind of thought we had that worked out, and it fell
Right.
through the center.
Okay.
It may be years in the making. So we are again actively on the hunt. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. We want a commercial kitchen. We
Right.
can, to do the level of stuff we want to do. We just need better equipment and a commercial kitchen. So we'd like to build that. If we can find a location, we're going to build a commercial kitchen. Not a dine-in thing, literally a space for us to work, and maybe other chefs to work out of, because so many people have come to us and said, hey, the place you use now, is there room for one more? And we're like, dude, that's not room for us in there.
But I'll tell you, originally, the one over the commercial kitchen in Red Cedar, it had a separate, like, 18-seat dining room, which they could feed people. And that's when the lobster lady built that place.
Oh, okay.
Like
I think that's where Antonio and School Pizza and Farm and everything right next to Lot 9.
Yeah. A lot of people lease that kitchen, right? Yeah.
So that would be something that we would be looking to put, like,
that type of structure.
Yeah, a commercial kitchen with like maybe an exhibition table.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen.
Table. You want to come taste their menu? Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Your wedding menu and taste it. Let's do it.
The challenge here, and I'm not going to say why. I think you guys, I might have hinted to you. If I didn't, I'm going to hint to you offline. I've been working on something else with a friend in the business, and it's not easy to find a commercial space around here. I mean,
it's so expensive.
What some of these, I mean, listen, you guys know the whole spirit behind my endeavor is I want restaurants to be successful, right? I want more covers, more seats, more business throughout the year, not just tourist season, but then off season with locals and everything like that. So I want everybody to succeed, but there are some asking prices just for keys right now that are just astronomical. And unfortunately, these places that are, supposedly that are out there, because I got a great commercial agent that's working on this stuff for me, and she'll send us the information, and it's like, just the price, for the key, they're worth more. And again, this is for something that's already, kind of ideally plug and play. They're worth more empty than they're worth with someone in it that it's for sale for a reason, either because they have to leave the area, because maybe the business is not working out, whatever the reasons that people have. Some of these prices are just absolutely insane. The new construction, I mean, you're lucky if you can get under $50 a square feet if you're renting it. And then, yes, I mean, there was one that was for sale. I mean, I think that one was worth it because it was in one of the most highly sought after retail places on Hilton Head. And that was like 700 square feet. And it was in the mid threes. That, granted, that was for purchase. That's a different kind of investment, but there wasn't even, room for tables in there. But again, buying versus renting, but just if you're looking at just the cost of the key to get into, I mean, it's one thing if you like, the Radici crew, they bought the key to your restaurant. There's value there, right? We're going into the spot that was, as we bring it full circle, that was the destination in Bluffton for almost 15 years. So there's cachet there. That makes sense to me. And some of these other spots just don't make it. And it's worked out well, right? I mean, it's obviously.
And that place is beautiful.
Those kids, I keep calling them kids. I got to quit doing that.
Yeah. They're great. I'm glad that I've gotten to know them. And you guys were so wonderful, like sort of like passing that baton, and so, so supportive, from day one. And, we got to catch up and chat a little bit that night. And it was a seamless transition. And listen, these guys and girl, they wanted to come here and live the American dream, and you guys facilitated that to happen, and I know that they're very appreciative of that, and it's become a destination for an entirely different reason. Before I let you guys go, like I said, I like to follow along with your adventures, and I always talk about the FOMO and things like that, and we've had some places that I know you guys enjoy. You guys get to leave, you get to kind of explore a little bit. I've been up to Charleston, I think twice. I went to Use Guys the one time. The other one time I went to Jackrabbit Philly before a concert, and that was at the old location. I'm dying to get to the new one with that chef that was on one of the top chef shows or whatever, right? And we had to drive back after the concert that night. We hoofed it back because my brother, we took care of the dog, and this was before we had the cat. Now things are getting even a little bit more interesting with that. So I haven't gotten to leave too many times. We got a quick jaunt down to Jekyll Island a couple years ago because I got one of those sparkles and spirits auctions with the Hilton Head Bluffton Chamber of Commerce. We got to go spend a night there and have dinner. What's during the course of your adventures, and I know you guys are widespread panic guys and all this other kind of stuff. So you're into music, you're into that type of stuff and those type of events and things like that. What are if you want to just briefly, is there anything recently that you've eaten that you've really enjoyed, or anything that you want to recommend to me or to the audience, whether it's close by or whether it's a little bit farther away? I know you guys have been busy, so you haven't been doing as much of that, but what I loved about it was when you had the restaurant and you were open, what was it like? Was it 5 or 6 days a week?
It went down to 4 after
ultimately, but so give or take 5 if we're looking at the whole thing. But you were able to find, even though you had to go stop in and check, Richard, you want to always check and make sure that things were running smoothly and that everything was operational. You guys you got to pick your spots, whether it was an overnight, whether it was a day trip or whatever. More recently, I know there's been less options to do that. And obviously you guys are also family type people, and you got, your extended family that you want to spend quality time with too. Anything that jumps out to mind that's been something really good that you've been or anything like that recently?
It's easily been 3 or 4, maybe even longer months. Chino over in Savannah. Chino does these pop-ups right at the Thompson Hotel usually. And I would not think I love the Thompson. It's my favorite hotel. The best view in Savannah. The bar upstairs is sick, and Orchid's brothers usually up there shaking drinks. And Chino does these amazing pop-ups. Yeah, he does. And they're just good, and they're actually really affordable. Like, you're not going to blow $500. Do you know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that, because I just did one last week, and I'll be honest, 2 people, I think we each had a cocktail. I think we ordered, I think the bread was included. This was a Filipino one.
Yeah.
But it was, and I wasn't even planning on going to that one, but then I saw the photos from the Monday, and I always got to make sure, because, with Jocelyn, with her work schedule between, private land management, with Jason Hewitt doing the, the hunting and fishing lands across the state of South Carolina. And now we're getting into shell bagging season. She just came out of reef building season. So she's a lot busier sometimes than I am. So I always got to run it past her in terms of like, are we able to make this happen? Because my move, just like you said, I love that place. And my move is to get a 5:30 reservation, 5:30, 5:45, whatever it is, and to go over there And this way I'm back home by 7:30. We feed the dog and the cat, we head over there, we have a great dinner. They really do, whether it's the residencies, which Chino's done a couple of times, the izakaya, whether it's these pop-ups, they really do an incredible job. They're doing one that's incorporating art that's coming up very soon.
God, that looks fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, that one picture with the gelatin or whatever that was that bright red fruit gel or whatever it was. I'm looking at the Facebook, but I think the Filipino one was, they had a tattoo artist there. They got another one coming up at I think it was probably, I saw it on Instagram because I'm not seeing it on Facebook here. Something that they're doing within the next week or two up at Bar Julian. What I love about the place is you can sit at the bar. Supposedly the fried chicken sandwich at happy hour is excellent. You can do the Fleeting, the regular restaurant, but then in the nights that it's not open, which is Mondays and Tuesdays, they're doing all kinds of stuff. One of the best ones that I ever did was Victoria, who runs the whole show there. She did the Mediterranean, like mezz.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you want to talk about a colorful, and just like you said, Allie, if you're into that grazing type of stuff, and again, I skimmed right past it because you guys get me going with this Fleeting. You're right. A couple of maybe, and again, some of them are like the Filipino one was meant for sharing. So I think we had a shrimp thing. I think we had let's just say maybe a total of 4 dishes. It was like 1 or 2 what I would call appetizers, and then there was a noodle bowl, and then there was a rice bowl. I think one of them had steak. I think the other one had something else that was just outstanding. I think it might have been pork belly, actually. At the end of the day, this came out to a little over $100.
No, right?
And again, that was with 2 cocktails. We passed on dessert that night.
Yeah, that's an experience. It's beautiful when you're there. Everything's, it's lovely.
And all in with tip.
All in.
Probably not going over like 150, 160 bucks, which is unheard of for that type of quality, right?
I agree. So I love those. I love those pop-ups. And I guess I should have said earlier, we do have pop-ups planned. We have restaurant friends who have offered us their space to host pop-ups. We're just waiting for the weather to cool off because a couple of them are like porch spaces at the restaurant. So as soon as the weather gets a little chillier, we'll start posting those pop-ups.
You heard it here first, folks.
You did.
What are we gonna? Do we have a title for those yet, or no?
No, each one will be curated for I don't know, whatever season is, what he's thinking, what the week feels like, and then we'll put it out. And once it goes out on social, then it's going to be, call the text line, and it'll be nuts. And
and hopefully
we'll tell you first.
And hopefully Justin's available.
Right.
Justin worked with me Saturday night. We did a gig over on Savage Island.
Yeah, we'll pull Justin and Leah for those pop-ups for sure. So we have
Savage Island. Where's that, Richard?
It's straight across All-Joy, Bull Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And turn right, and there's one dock. It's a 400 dry acre island.
It's beautiful.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. They held food over there and cooked dinner for 14 people.
It's just like you said, these are experiences, and this is what you're going to get. Again, we're talking about 2 chefs, no magic, which Allie, you said is under the umbrella of umbrella. Listen to me. I sound like Mike Francesa. Under the as I got my Mets gear on, I sound like I'm from Flushing, Queens. Poor Richard's.
Good to go.
Fun food. Okay. What is it? Poor Richard's what?
Poor Richard's good to go.
Poor Richard's.
We are good to go because it's going to be catering and private chefing and just food that you're taking with you. Somehow.
Don't use the C word.
What's that?
Catering.
He hates that word.
Okay. I'm going to fix it. I put it in the title for this, but I'm going to fix it. I'll edit it.
I'm kidding.
Don't worry about it.
We do drop-offs. That's technically considered catering.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so we got it. All right, so guys, 843-384 2405.
Right.
This is a text-only number.
Right.
This phone number is good on the Facebook page, though, right? This right still? 843-757-1999. You might have to fix that.
No, man, you're calling Radici. Poor Maggio.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. It's okay if they call Radici. Maybe they'll make a reservation there, too.
They might have. I don't know. I'll fix that right now.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we got it. Listen, Poor Richard's, as it sounds on the Facebook page, POUR Richards, RICHARDS. We have Poor Richards, Bluffton.com is the website. And again,
Portraits 843 is the website.
Okay,
is that
got
wrong
it.
on Facebook too?
Poor Richards 843.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that fixed.
I'm
That's
on it.
okay. By the time they go to the by the time they see this and they go to the Facebook page, it'll be right on there. Like we said, that text number is right, 843-384-2405. You can also find them on Instagram at Poor Richards, mostly Allie, right?
Or just Bluffton, mostly Allie.
Or Richards Bluffton, mostly Allie. Got it. Well, they'll find, and if they can't find you, they know they go to the old Indulgent Islander. They're going to find you shortly thereafter that. So listen, guys, I know, remember you said that you weren't going to have enough for an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're almost at an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to let you guys go. I know you got stuff to do. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you,
I think we should have you come back because we got, like you said, we got some stuff planned, right?
Yeah,
we got some pop-ups things and things like that planned. I'm going to connect with you guys offline. I might need to get my hands on some of that good stuff. I'm definitely going to talk to Mom about the lobster situation for the holidays, because I think that would probably be, are you doing that for, is it just for a single holiday, or is it for multiple?
We'll roll it all through the fall. Like we'll do it for November, December, because some people order that for Christmas and New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Holiday season. We'll do it all holiday season.
Perfect. All right, guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Again, we have Allie Rogers and Richard Canestrari from formerly Poor Richards, but now Poor Richards. Again, tell me, Poor Richards.
Good to go.
Good to go. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
Thank you, Nick.
Love you.
See you
As
soon.
always, stay hungry, my friends. Have a great day.